Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs and their subjects. Today is September the 29th, 2024 on the ancient moon calendar, 2025 on the ancient sun calendar, 5785 on the ancient Hebrew Israelite calendar, 10,066 on the ancient Yoruba calendar, and trillions and trillions and trillions of years on our original calendar, Islam. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan, Universal Court Action. We are the divine sovereign living justices, and ego sum Pauline Denise Ritchie, my free chosen sovereign appellation, is like tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal living natural head and living natural body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, sovereign, original, indigenous, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves. For we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are being the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our own sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war, and we demonstrate all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. We will, to make it clear to everyone, particularly to the Moors, that the reason that we're doing the things that we're doing is because we handle our affairs differently, somewhat differently, particularly at the foundation, differently from what we were taught in the previous era's enactment. So wealthy people, which is who we are, especially extremely wealthy people, handle their business and their affairs differently than in the past. So that's what this is all about, is the things that we were taught in the previous era's enactment, that those things are the basics that come in handy, but everything must be restated. And in order to handle our affairs properly, the more we do these processes, the more we will increase in wealth, prosperity, luxury, and abundance. So it is a process. It's a process. The wealthy people that we are, it can be frustrating sometimes remembering the ways of wealth for us, but nonetheless, we must do it. It still has to be done. So keep that in mind, because I know that in some cases it can be, every now and then we do get if it was, just if there was nothing to do, if we didn't have much to govern, then, we wouldn't have much to do. So, to whom much is given, much is required in terms of us calling forth and doing the things that wealthy people do. Because that's really what's going on, is we're just remembering how to be our own regular wealthy selves on our own land. So that does require some different processes and things. Islam. So let's continue remembering the ways of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. They used a system, the system, because there's only one system. It's our system. There's no other system besides ours. It's just a matter of us governing the system and the things that go into the system as well as what comes out of the system. So with that being stated, I have a question for this great and holy Congress. My question to this holy Congress is the following. Have you perfected an instrument or a process? Has anyone perfected an instrument or a process? And if so, what does a perfected instrument or process look like? And we will tell you that we have perfected many processes. It's just that they all go together. And then we have to know what a perfected.
I used to perfected being evicted. How's that?
Even looks like. We have to know what a perfected instrument even looks like, because processes are perfected by way of the instrument that we use and that we create. So in the dictionary, because see, I know that many of you have perfected instruments.
And with that being stated, Pauline likes to suck.
You just don't know it yet. You just don't know that you have a perfected instrument yet. So Islam,
Empress. All we do is study here at Virginia Republic, and so we perfected the lien and the levy. All of them really. The one that I would say that we have not, we know how to do it, but for some reason we don't do the bonding that often. And I know why, but we know how to do that. We just don't present that piece of our system that often. But the lien, the levy, crafting 1099 debt cancellation forms, 1099 acquisition formats rather, and any kind of document that we find online that we that is necessary to get some exchanges or some things moving around for our nation. We can look at it and go into Google Docs or into Excel and do it in no time. So yeah, we're very proud of that. Islam.
Thank you, Empress. That's great to hear. Great to hear.
Would you have your Land Rover if you perfected the process?
And we know that to be true. We know that to be true. Anyone else? So let's look at in the dictionary at what a perfected instrument is, because see, a lot of people don't know that they've already perfected what it is, but you have to put everything together. Everything goes together. It all works together. We were teaching things step by step by step. We started with the lien process after nationality, because nationality comes before anything, any of this. A perfect instrument is an instrument, and this is such as a deed or mortgage, but we say any instrument is said to become perfect when recorded or filed for record, because it then becomes good as to all the world. In other words, everyone can see it. When you publish, when you record and publish, and we do all of that from our courts first, and then we notify any lower courts and things like that. Okay. And again, they can argue with a dictionary, because we're not going to argue back and forth. We know what this is. It's the definition of a perfect instrument. It's one that is recorded for the record. And what have we done? And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos recorded where we've recorded documents for the record. And then we showed some of the green return receipts. We did quite a few of those, and more have come in since then, recorded for the record.
None of that shows success.
Okay, so,
none of that shows success.
Don't be mad. Don't be mad. And so we know that Islam. We know that we have perfected instruments. See, you know, sometimes people will say, well, you know, so-and-so is teaching this way and so-and-so is teaching that way, and I don't like that way because it doesn't work. Well, wait a minute. Did you record properly? Yes, you did. It's a perfect instrument. But see, if you don't know that, you'll think that it's so-and-so's process, you know, or the way that so-and-so did this or did that, that's why it didn't work. It works. It's a perfect instrument first when it's recorded properly. And let me tell you, a fake court cannot record anything properly. Let's just make that clear. Okay, a fake court cannot. That is why we record
so
from
you should have
first, and then we record from our courts first, and then we notify others that the instrument is perfected before it even gets there. It's perfected with us when we record it. And if you'll notice, this definition has the word registered in parentheses, meaning you don't have to register it with anybody else. You record it and then notify. Because the filings have the filings are filed with our court first. So when we use the court action language and we put it on an 8.5 by 14 legal size document on Moorish government letterhead, and then we follow that up with a legal size piece of paper that's 8.5 by 10 or 8.5 by 11 rather, a company document, and we put those two together so that the company document or the common document is more to the land by the Moorish government document. You've got perfected instruments all over the place. So don't be swayed one way or the other by so-and-so's process or this process or that process. Just know what a perfect instrument looks like. Just know what it looks like. And a perfect instrument will be competent as well. Okay? It'll be competent.
But none of it.
A lot of the instruments and things that we've done in the past, Previously, they were perfected from the very beginning. We saw results from the beginning. But see, when you see results, especially with regard to what we've done as Congress and the grand body, and the heads of everything, you may not realize that you caused this or that thing to happen. So you won't think that it's a perfected instrument, because the results can be sometimes have a colorable coating on top. For example, when we put a lien on the fraudulent United States Corporation Company actors back in 2018, then a year later, they started exactly 1 year later, there was in the funny mirror, there was talk of something coming, something's coming. A year later, because it's a big acting, it was a big acting company. Okay, so some may say, well, they didn't do that. COVID shut everything down and stopped all the commerce. COVID
Notice
did,
she said talk.
Except thank you, Ravana, Empress Ravana. Some may say, well, they didn't do that. COVID did that, quote unquote. No, we did that. We all did that, because there has to be a break, a stoppage, so that when things start back up again, it's in our favor, which has already happened. That's already done. We have so many perfect instruments on the public record that is just amazing. So always remember that, Moors. Remember, you already have perfect instruments out there. Just keep putting them out there, because our ancestors willed that we put the process on the public record. State what the process is and then do it. We're seeing so many Moors that are waking up, and they're putting processes on the public record, but they're not declaring their nationality, and the process will work for them for a moment. Like we were listening to someone who he received a check that was almost $1 million from the quote unquote IRS. What he does not know, he's a Moor, but he doesn't claim, he hasn't proclaimed his nationality to our, from what we can hear. He did the process right, but it's in the wrong venue, so they're going to come back for that. Okay. Though that previous enactment will always come back for their contracts. He did it as he did some things, and he told how he did it. We know what we heard about how he did it. And again, this was just a video. I don't know him. I've never met him. I've never interacted with him. In fact, I just saw his video up. This was like my first time even seeing that he's been on YouTube doing things according to quote unquote common law. But he's going to have to declare his nationality if he wills to have good results from this point forward. So now that we've seen that, we also know that because we have perfected instruments on the public record, and listen, if you're brand new, I don't even like to use the term brand new, because you have ancient knowledge within you. Your Moors are waking up with their eyes wide open. So brand new is not really the right term. Usually when people say they're brand new, they're operating far above the capacity of anyone who would be new. If you know who you are, you can't say you're new. You're actually, I mean, you can say it, but there's no deficit from being new. Okay. But there is everything is coming full circle. It's already full circle for us. So we will to show you, now you know that your instruments are perfect. You didn't need anyone to review them. Just create them according to what the Spirit tells you. And when you let the Spirit speak to you through, with regard to your instruments, they will be perfect. They'll be perfect. You're already perfect. We were created perfect because we created ourselves perfect. So make no mistake about that. Now we're talking about instruments, be they financial or otherwise. And in reality, all of our instruments are financial to some degree, whether it be equitably financial or whether it be any other way. But equitable is a good way to say that. The majority of our instruments are financial. There are some that are not financial, that don't have a financial quality, but the quality is really built in. Because once you declare your nationality, you're automatically heir to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. So that within itself is the quality. So with that being stated, I will to share something with the Congress. Really quickly that I saw. We have been doing this for a while. So this particular code that we're going to look at, we're elevating it to law. This is 26, and we would spell out United States Code, which makes ours different. 26 United States Code 166. It's regarding something called bad debt. We were speaking previously, we mentioned the Internal Revenue Refund Report. So we're going to look at this because this is going to be a part of our refund report. Just a moment, let me remove this out of the way. So here's the statement. It says, wholly worthless debts. There shall be allowed as a deduction any debt which becomes worthless within the taxable year. So we know we don't have any debt, and this right here is why we don't have any debt. Okay? We claim it as credit. Just one moment. Okay? We claim it as credit. So on the internal revenue, and again, we're speaking to our internal revenue, not any dead one or anything like that. This would be why you would keep all of your receipts, no matter what the receipts are for, you keep them. And then you claim them as a deduction on your tax, on your internal revenue refund report. Okay? And there are codes and things that go with this that we elevate to law. Okay? So it doesn't matter what it is, whether it can be rent, it can be mortgage, it can be buying a new conveyance, it can be utilities, it can be any of that. The reason we don't have debt is because of this right here. Okay? So we would quote this, and we would just say debt. When we restate it as debt. And then we'll just state this and claim the credit. Now, it says any debt. That means any and all. Doesn't matter what it is. And we would spell wholly, H-O-L-Y, or H-O-L-I-E. Okay? So, are there any questions, comments, wisdom? And this is for cellular service and all of that. We're still doing that demonstration. We got our cellular, our communication device with our the driver's license that we created, and now we're going to continue doing that demonstration. We know how to get it and have it be in the right jurisdiction. And now we're working on, okay, this is how we continue it going. Okay. So because one thing we do is we definitely are going to just continue demonstrating these processes. We put them on the public record, and we already know how it's going to go. Okay. So we're actually in the process of putting things together for, we have receipts from years past, 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, that we kept, and we've got them recorded, and we're going to put make that part of our internal revenue refund report, and put all the right things in there. And we're also going to restate the foreign national, that form. There's a form that people file, I believe is a W-8 bin, and they file as a foreign national. We're not foreign on our own land, but we're national, that's for sure. So we're going to retitle that form and restate it, and that will go with it. So we're not foreign. This is our land. We're not foreign. We're nationals though, and so we're going to put that with our internal revenue refund report. And when you pair all of that together with the trust document, because we're filing we're filing with our court and recording with our court these perfected instruments as a perfected instrument and perfected refund, because it's properly recorded and properly filed. And then we're going to, state the amount of the refunds for each year where we kept good records and things. So being self-governing is all about records. It's all about recording things properly in the right court, which is our court, using the right money, because there's no money anywhere else. Using the right money, and continuing to be ourselves on our own land. So prepare yourselves, your records, so that we can begin these filings. And we can file them as often as we have receipts and things to file. So I would say probably every 3 months, every quarter, file for an internal revenue refund report, or file it once a year if you choose to do that. Save all your receipts, keep a good record of the receipts. We just did a spreadsheet, and I'm so grateful for Empress Ravana, because she's so thorough with keeping the records and keeping the receipts and everything for our kin here. She does an excellent job of that, so I do want to give a shout out to her. and for all the great work that she's doing. And that's what we're looking at. And at some point, we will introduce the internal Revenue Refund Report. We're going to demonstrate it first, and then bring the results back. So that's how we are doing things now, is demonstrating it first and then showing you the results of the things that we do. And we've been doing that, but we're becoming a lot more diligent about demonstrating first and then showing you this is what happened when I did this or this or this. Are there any questions, comments, wisdom from this Congress?
Islam,
Empress Shasha.
Empress Shasha. So I have some questions on that. Over the years, I had done in my sleeping state, done taxes over the years. I always did taxes. I did them myself, and then over time we would use a tax accountant to complete the process, as it were. So I have years of well organized receipts, filings, all of those sorts of things. How far back can one go? Because they're all fraud, of course. But so that's my question. Things like, mortgage payments, insurances, as well as daily household, monthly household expenses.
Yeah.
How far back can one go?
We get to determine that because it's our state and it's our government and all of that. From our perspective, we feel that we should be able to go all the way back. Just a moment. Feel that we should be able to go all the way back to birth.
Absolutely. And so that would then it's determined by what we have recorded.
Yes.
Already. Okay. Well, that answers my question, certainly.
And also, there are some who may not have their records. Maybe they were in a house fire, or they moved and things got lost or whatever. If you'll do an honorable affidavit for that year stating that your best estimate, this is what you have for that year, then that the affidavits can be reviewed by the Internal Revenue, which is all of us. And
right.
we'll just affirm that, okay, we'll go with that, because there was no, we just didn't know. We just didn't know.
We didn't know, and that's good. Thank you, because I have some years that are not with me here, but but I still have many years with me here. So wonderful. I mean, that's certainly reversion of estate. And handling our business.
It is, because it was all called debt in the first place. And also, when we were getting 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 in quote unquote refund, that was the proverbial bowl of porridge for the estate itself. We were being given manna, just manna, not the open windows of heaven and all of that. We were just being given little twos and fews here and there, and sometimes they said you got to pay, and so.
I mean, it was all. We have to do this. I mean, it was awful, because in truth, what they were. The porridge that was given back was regurgitated porridge.
That was really gross. But it is what it is.
I mean, and that sadly is exactly the state, the condition of what we've just come out of. It was gross. Yeah.
I mean,
yield. Thank you.
What we heard other people say and do, ooh, and we thought we were doing something. Ooh, I got 3,000 back, but the whole rest of the year you're just in debt.
Well, and I mean, and that's the piece, and that's really, interestingly enough, that's the piece that many of the people I come into contact with, that little piece of porridge people do not want to give up. Because, as you stated, that 3,000 I got back, yay, I'm wealthy, but I worked for, 3/4 of the year to get back a little of my sweat that maybe I can have a drink from.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It is, yeah. It's work. All of this is work, but what else are we to do? Because look at all the work we did.
Yeah.
And it's what was taken.
Yes.
This is work for me, for us.
Yeah. Well, that's why our ancestors, they didn't necessarily have jobs.
Right.
They governed their affairs, and that's what kept them, wealthy and land owning and governing.
And wise, right?
Yeah. And those who were at home governing the estate were called governors and governesses.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where the term governor even came from, and they use that term over at UK territory for a woman who is brought into the house specifically to govern certain things, like maybe the children's education.
Usually the nanny, right, and the household.
Yes.
To govern the household. And if you look at the word govern means to control, or is gold.
Yes.
That's the wealth, all of it. I mean, it's right before our very eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I think Mary Poppins, wasn't she a governor in the musical?
Yes, she was a governess. Yeah. Brought in. And see, the crazy thing is we did not bring foreigners in to govern anything for us. We did it ourselves.
We did. I mean, and that's the thing, the whole, the idea of not bringing people in, or not even that piece, but we devolved to the point where we would take our gold, our wealth, and put them in these centers where God only knows many times who was raising and taking care of our children, which is our wealth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it is what it is, and we're changing that now. It's changed, so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's let me see what was put in the chat. Justice he said the meaning of worthless. The word worthless comes from Old English words weoro, meaning equal in value to, and least, meaning devoid of. The word was first used in the late 1500s, and the earliest evidence of its use, 1573, in the writings of George Gascoigne. So worthless has different, worthless. It just that doesn't mean it's not. That's not really our thing. We don't have debt, but this is why. See, we can say we don't have debt, but we have to prove we don't have it. And this is how you do it. You prove it by getting everything credited back to you. Everything that went through the bank accounts and things, all the things that went through bank accounts, receipts, anything that you can think of, because that was a whole debt era. And, ignorance of the law is no excuse. However, we are due. So this is those who bought domiciles. Even if the domicile was the position of the domicile was moved in terms of, them saying something about a quote-unquote eviction and all of that, you're still due on both sides of that event. Still, you get to claim that which is part yours. Amount of the deduction, it says, for purposes of subsection A, the basis for determining the amount of the deduction for any bad debt shall be the adjusted basis provided in section 1011 for determining the loss from either the sale or other disposition of property. So even if there was some sort of quote unquote eviction, you're still due. Any other disposition, you're still due. So this is for business debts and non-business debts. It says here, where any non-business debt becomes worthless within the taxable year, the loss resulting therefrom shall be considered a loss from the sale or exchange during the taxable year of a capital asset held for not more than 1 year. So, this is, now I'll say this, those actors previously acting as preachers flying around in jets and things like that, and clergymen and, those that were acting as popes and all of that, they would buy their plane, their airplane, whatever it is, however they traveled, they would buy that and then claim it worthless. They would claim a deduction, but see, there were so many deductions that you could take for any of that stuff. Even for automobiles, you can claim first the purchase of it, then the loss of value, because remember they were saying that they lose value as soon as you drive them off the lot. This is why they say that was being said, is because they willed to claim or wanted to claim a deduction for all of that. So, just one moment. So, it's going to be very important as we continue to demonstrate our status and everything. Those who were demonstrating conveyances, automobiles, vehicles, things of that nature. The contracts and all of that stuff happen by way of our creditor, United States, okay? But we are on the land. So our United States that we created is the contracting mechanism by which everything is moving around. It's a trust. We recorded it as a trust. It is a perfected instrument. And so we can use that special purpose vehicle to hold all of the contracts and claim everything, claim the deductions. You can, if you have access to a bank account that where you have years and years of statements, anything that came out, and they usually give you a total of what came out each month. All you have to do is add that up, because that's debt, or it's deductions. I'm not going to call it debt because we don't have debt. It's deductions. Okay. So we will and all of it can be claimed. All of it, everything can be claimed. Okay. No matter what it is, it can be claimed. Islam, Empress.
This is Empress Amani. So I have a question as it relates to the conveyances. So say, for example, you've had it for a while now. Mm-hmm. An individual has had it for a while. Mm-hmm. They didn't claim initially when they purchased the vehicle. Mm-hmm. So now with this knowledge and moving forward, now they're wanting to claim. So do we still, at this particular point, claim for the entire purchase of the vehicle, or do we kind of like what you were saying, which is to go back, count up the months that you paid, and that's what you claim?
The whole, so that's going to be two separate line items for that vehicle. One is going to be what was charged for it initially, because that is what was taken from, it was paid for that day. So when you signed the paperwork for it, that the signature paid for it, it affirmed it. So you do that, plus you'll do a separate line item for maintenance on it for the length of time that you had it.
So it's almost like you're paying for it twice.
You're getting the deductions. You can get a deduction up to 100 and something times for one thing if you know how to do it, if you know what to call it.
Wow.
That's what the Bible says now. The Biblio says that you're going to be getting 30, 60, some 30, some 60, and some 100-fold. Or it will say some 7 times back. You know, keep it going, keep it going. And that's why they, you know, people have always been saying,
you still don't have that Range Rover in your.
The rich are getting richer. They're going to get richer. Yes, we are. Because now we know who we are.
Right. And that form, so is that what they call the form in the previous era?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever form that
and
was.
You didn't get your Nissan Altima.
You think they called it the itemization form, maybe?
Say that again, Empress.
I think it may be the itemization form.
Yes. Yeah.
He's lying to you, Imani.
We'll restate it though.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. Oh yes, that's right. That is a part of it.
Yeah.
Is make sure that the form that we're using from the previous era that you actually restated.
It has to be restated.
And then do whatever we need.
He's lying to you, Imani.
And send it. Okay.
Yeah, because if you use their form, that's more debt, and you can't pay debts with debt, and you can't claim debts with debt, and that's just not how it works.
Correct. Islam. I think I got it now.
Yeah, Islam. So we're all, like our prophet said, children, you're just plain rich. It's true. Very true. And when we do it this way that we're doing it, no one can come back and try and throw you in jail over a debt, because it's above those pay grades. It's completely outside of that kind of thing. So go back as far as you can remember, because see, time immemorial means just that. And then also the bank statements and things, all of that was put there so that we could restate all of that. Okay, so we're just going to give it a new name. It'll be a bank statement, but we'll spell bank a little differently. Maybe put an E on the end, and statement, put an E on the end of that, and put it in the right color. You know.
And your $27,000 check was rejected too, wasn't it?
Just a moment. And so even the $27,000 check that we wrote that went through our account, we're going to be claiming all of that. Everything gets claimed, because again, we don't have debt, but we do have deductions. We call it deductions because we're the converters of it. Remember, the word apostle means converter. So does chief justice. So does justices and consuls. Those are all converters. We reversion the estate right back to us with the proper process. So that means having your trust set up, And setting up a trust it's just a matter of making the statements on the proper, 1041T, 1040 and 1041T, 1041 and 1041T, which is the trust. We just restated that form. It must be restated. You can't use it in the status that is, that it was online out there, hanging out there. Can't use it that way. It has to be restated. We restated it for our United States, and we all did that together. We voted on it and agreed on it. And so that is going to be the financial mechanism that holds the contracts, the agreements, the perfected instruments, and so on and so forth. And by the way, Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium, thank you, is Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium is a perfected instrument also because we recorded it. So let's just keep going with what we're doing.
She hasn't got any of this.
Boy, our security is on it today. So
she's not had one successful demonstration.
Islam Empress.
Islam nobility.
Islam Empress. Grand Rising.
Great rising.
Yes. Real quickly, that you had a form that mentioned nationality that has to be restated. Is foreign, and we have to restate it. That's adjoined to that refund report.
Yeah.
Could you give me that number again?
Let's go to that form. There's a couple of them that have to be restated. Let's see. There's something about a foreign national. It has to be restated though, because again, and this is for our United States, so we don't even accept them in this form. It has to be. Let me see. No. Let me see. I believe it will say something about what is a foreign national. National person includes a non-resident alien individual. Okay, so we're going to restate even the definition of this, so that because we're going to remove the word foreign altogether. Nationals. Federal tax status are subject to the same state income tax rules that apply to you as citizens.
Islam Empress.
Islam.
It's Empress Shasha, Chief Justice Shasha. I am on the phone, so I'm unable to see your screen, but I have some weak internet. So if you could tell me what the form you're looking at, then I can have a look at least on my end.
Okay. Yes. Let me. I'm locating the form right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let's see. Because see, our United States is not a place where we reside. Okay, it's not a place where we live. It's a mechanism that we use. It's a trust that we use. We don't live in it. We live in our bodies. So, let's see. Let me just see where foreign national form. IRS. And we're going to change the name of it. Let's see. Exclusion and your housing exclusion or deduction. You cannot exclude or deduct more than your foreign earned income for the year. That's for us, all debt is going to be included in what we do. So I'm going to say that it's this form right here. because we earn, all of our money is nominated in dolarium. It's not nominated in debt. So if anyone knows, I believe this is it. It's just a 1, 2, 3 pages. And we will restate this. We'll restate this to fit our purposes. This again, when you see things like this, these are all suggestions. This is not anything anyone should be using. Okay? But we have to know how to speak. We're not foreign, but we did have jobs. Like most of us had jobs that we were.
Why don't you ever do the demonstrations you tell everybody else to do?
And so this is a way to claim all of that back. Okay.
What's the title of the form?
The title of the form is Form 2555.
2555.
Foreign earned income. And again, this is for our person that we own.
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Empress? Empress Shasha, can you hear me? Empress Shasha.
They're all.
Can you hear me?
Just went here. And now I can hear you. The power had gone.
Okay. So it's Form 2555. It says foreign earned income. Yes. But we're just going to take the word foreign off. We're going to put earned income, but again, we're going to have an 8.5 by 14 that goes with this. And a lot of this stuff won't even, but again, this is to claim from when we worked, when we were working in the last era, in the previous era, to claim all of that back. And that's why I think that's why this is this form. And again, we were not U.S. citizens. We never were. Okay. U.S. citizens. We were not resident aliens. We were just in that enactment. We were United States. We were nationals, but we would call it United States nationals for the purpose of the job. To know that we're different from, we're not U.S. And so U.S. will not be on anything of ours except the lien or something,
Right. Correct. I hear you. And you will be posting this on the public record, so I'll be able to look at it later. But just for going along while I'm listening. So
yes, do the study. Thank you for saying that, Empress. Everyone, run it through your holy sovereign filter.
Yes.
And then as you feel comfortable restating, because we never use them, and I'll say it again for those, just so that everyone can hear, we never use their forms. Never. We restate everything. Is it work? Yes. Can we do it? We must. So we'll just be, going along and making the changes as we go. Let me see.
Islam, Empress?
Yes, Islam, Empress Karima. Empress Karima.
Islam. Yes, Islam, Empress. Can I ask a question
yes.
outside of what we're speaking about right now? It's a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep getting information about a potential power outage that the subjects may be enacting. I got that information through the Wind Talking channel. Big ups to Noble Rod Hayes. Has anyone else in the Congress heard anything about that?
So
No.
I have not heard any of that. But again, we really kind of don't allow other people to speak into our resources like that. Because it may be happening for them. It will be according to their word. It will happen to them according to their word. And we know that. So we don't allow people to speak into our existence and our manifestation like that. Because if we did, grocery stores wouldn't have nothing on the shelf today if we had let that thing speak into our lives. You know, and when I say that thing, that media monster that is out there called the news, you know, and I'm not speaking of our good brother Rod Hayes, whom we absolutely just send our highest honors to, but I'm talking about just the news that the foreigners say. Because see, things are going to be happening like that in their jurisdiction, but just not in ours. We're seeing it, you know, in terms of, you know, they're talking about a bunch of stuff, a bunch of flooding and all of that stuff over there. Of course it's happening there because financially they're underwater. We're not, though. So it's not happening here. So I have a question, by the way. Has anyone been involved in any flooding at your territory?
Islam, Empress Light. Yes, I have.
Okay. So
in
that
London,
means, yeah,
in
that's,
London, yeah.
It's underwater financially, so it's manifesting physically.
Yeah, yeah. And you can sense that.
Yeah, but see,
you know,
we're not in the same London that they're in. We're not in the same America that is underwater financially. So, you know, the majority of us, even though they may be bouncing that kind of news around out there in the Babylonian, you know, place, that's Babel.
Yeah.
You know, and we call it Babel, and when we call it Babel, it happens that way, and not for us. So, Empress, continue demonstrating your status so that you're in the right place. And we know you're demonstrating well and being yourself there. Continue doing that so that that underwater piece and all of that flooding and all of that stuff stops, because the weather has to do with us. We're the only ones who affect weather.
Right.
You know, I mean,
and it's obviously, you know, manipulated.
Of course it is.
It's so obvious the way it, you know, the way it behaves.
Yeah.
You know.
It's financial, you know, first, and it happens in the spirit realm.
Absolutely.
And
then
I
had a job offer the other day, and the job is about the bank's closing. About a particular bank closing down.
The bank
doing it down.
Okay, so
I can't say too much because obviously, you know.
Okay, so Empress, that they're not talking to us, just like when they said,
no.
You know,
I'm aware of that, but what I'm saying is, you know, how they're laughing to me. They're laughing at anyone who will listen.
Yeah.
Anyone who will listen, anyone who takes it seriously, anyone who does feel that, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
They're going to take it. Yeah, it's kind of, I find it quite amusing, in that I am aware.
Yeah.
I am awake. I do know.
Yeah.
I you know, exactly.
Yeah.
Wagwan. Yeah.
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 So for us, no one can close our banking down because we're the heads of our own bank. We're the heads of our banking.
Right.
Okay.
Their banking.
And again, this was about record keeping anyway. You know, so as we keep good records, and then use the system accordingly, then it's all good for us. It's all good.
Islam. This is Empress Amani. So I just wanted to kind of speak on a different way of looking at our surroundings and what we hear, et cetera, et cetera. Another way to look at that is to know that we're on a different timeline.
Yes.
So when we think of ourselves as being protected, this is not happening to us, it's not going to happen, then that places you in a different timeline because you're not focused on those type of situations and things that the others are speaking about, because that's not going to affect you. You're not speaking that into existence. And so that's why it's important for us to know what we're speaking and know that our words are power and they manifest.
Yes.
So if we keep it, you know, keep our mouth, and then
son of the people that have left.
Keep those positive ideas in front of us and where we're headed, then that won't touch us.
It will never touch us.
And then the other thing I wanted to speak on about the document, the 2555.
Amani, you're a fucking loser. Quit coming on this.
Go ahead, Empress. Just a moment.
They actually set the forms up for us, really. So they set the forms up for us, and all we have to do is restate it and do what we need to do. So it's not like we have to recreate the form.
Right, exactly.
We have to do that.
Pauline has never had one successful day.
So it's already there. All we got to do is restate those particular items, like what you pointed out. Just restate those, and the form is done.
Yeah.
Islam.
I did not put that link in the chat, just so.
Ask Pauline where her Range Rover is.
Ooh, boy, our security is on it today. I love it. Okay, so just like Empress Imani stated, just look at the process, restate the whole process, and is it work? Yes, but once you restate it one time, all you have to do is use what you restated, and we'll restate it and show you how we did it too. It's going to be, you know, but everyone, all Moors have the authority to restate it according to your will, and again. Whenever I see forms like this, that's 3 pages, it's just a bunch of suggestions. I take out what I don't feel should be there and leave in the rest. And if the rest is only 1 page, okay, that's what it's going to be, a 1-page document. Okay. So we are, all of those processes, you know, we've seen people doing process after process and things of that nature, and we honor that.
Why hasn't Pauline been successful at getting first step?
So we are making great leaps forward in everything that we're doing. Okay, is it work? Yes, but look at how much work the Funny Mirror did to just make it appear like pretend to be us. That's why the forms, you know, this is a 3-page form, because it was someone pretending to be somebody that they're not. Our forms don't have to be, our documents and affidavits don't have to be this long. Okay. So, yeah, someone said if it does not apply, let it fly. Yep, it'll be set aside. Okay. So we know we're not foreign on our own land, and we, you know, we're speaking into our United States mechanism. It's a financial mechanism. Okay, so we send things there. For example, I did a demonstration, and I won't go too far into the demonstration that I did, but in the demonstration, it became clear to me that our paperwork is our United States paperwork. Okay, it's our United States paperwork, but then the actual thing that is coming, whatever the property is, comes to the land location. Okay, so they're happening, the financial things are happening on paper in our United States, and then we, you know, everything that we're doing and manifesting happens here on the land, and our paperwork is done on the land. So this week has been just a very progressive week. It's been very progressive. We've made a lot of progress. Okay, so the itemization form, I believe someone asked about that. Let's take a look at the itemization form, and we're going to simplify them because there's a lot of colorability on these forms, which is why we don't use them. But let me show you really quickly. Let's see, restrictions on, oh, we don't know what that is. Anyway, section 166 of the Internal Revenue Code, and this is the code that the Internal Revenue Code that matches the United States Code. So we quote both of them, and then there's another one, the public law, where the same thing is stated. We would quote the same, you know, same thing here. Filing claim. Here it is again in the public law. There shall be allowed as a deduction any debt which becomes worthless within the taxable year. Think about groceries. Groceries become worthless. A grocery receipt becomes worthless immediately. As soon as you take the stuff out of the refrigerator or the cabinet at the grocery store and all of that stuff, it's all automatically worthless right then. You know, so those things should be claimed. All of that should be claimed. Anything, a lot of this stuff is temporary things, you know. So, but let's look at the itemization form. Let's pull that up really quickly. To be itemizing deductions, here it is. It's, let's see, Schedule A, Form 1040, itemized deductions. So it's a 1040. And some of you will know these processes already of doing itemized deductions and things like that. So our United States is a tax-exempt trust. And when we say tax-exempt, we exempt it, we're not getting permission from anybody else to do that. We do that. We've already done that. So let's see what this form. And to me, I think that this form should be just another list on the Internal Revenue Refund Report. So we should quote that this is the Schedule A 1040 affidavit of itemized deductions, or itemized deductions affidavit. and then just start listing things instead of going through all of this right here. This just seems just a lot. Of course, we're going to study it and look at the categories and things like that. But to me, a list of whatever it is and the amount, and then do a total at the bottom, would be a good itemized report. It would actually be more thorough and more easily stated than going through all of this. However, this is good to look at because a lot of the things that are on here, such as casualty and theft losses from a federally declared disaster, and things of that nature. Gifts by check or cash. If you made any gift of $250 or more, then claim it. Other than by cash or check, if you made any gift of $250 or more, claim it. Carry over from the prior year. Yeah, so this is good to just look at home mortgage interest and points. We don't do interest, but we have to claim what we enacted in the previous era. So home mortgage interest not reported to you on Form 1098. And again, we're restating each and every one of these categories. So we'll just look at the categories and then put them on our internal revenue refund report, because that's really what it's going to be. Itemized deductions and our status, our national status. And then the trust that we're using, so that we get all of the credits and things from the previous. Study, and then study yourself some more. Okay? Let your holy filter tell you how to proceed. Islam nobility.
Another quick question. So will we send out fiduciary form with that?
Yes. Yes. Our fiduciary affidavit on 8.5 by 14 on Moorish government letterhead. Yes.
Islam.
Absolutely yes. And again, don't send this form like it is. Restate it, and then proceed. Okay. Their forms have too many ifs, or, and they will always pick the debt category. So we don't use their forms. We just look at it, restate it, and then send it. Send our newly created, restated form. Affidavit, rather. We don't do forms, we do affidavits. Because an unrebutted affidavit stands and is law. And remember, perfected instrument. Make sure you record it with your court first. Any instrument is said to become perfect when recorded for the record, because it then becomes good as to all the world, period. Bank statements, banking system statements. So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Go back as far as from birth.
Islam.
Islam nobility.
This is Ogunwole, Supreme Seven Solution. On document 34, real quick, wait a minute. What did you state that you put as the sovereign document number?
You said document 34. Which document is that?
That's the one where you put the Social Security number, and then up under it you got sovereign document number. It's over the E. 095.
Oh, it's probably 1010-5905. Probably 01010-5905. Probably. No. I'm not looking at it right now, so I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
You said it starts with an E?
Yes, E.
Then it's probably the red number on the back.
Of the Social Security?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The restated red number.
Okay, so if I don't have my original Social Security card, should I get one?
No, you can. It's up to you. However your spirit leads you ultimately. But if you have one, you can go ahead with the one you have. You're the creditor anyway.
So I can create one too, right?
The fiduciary document will do that. Yeah, you can create one. Sure.
Okay. All right, gratitude.
Are you saying create a state security number? Is that what you're referring to?
Create my own number if I don't know what's on the back of my Social Security card because I don't have it. You
can do that. You can do that and just call it what it should be. Okay. Call it what it is for you. Name it.
Okay, gratitude.
And then if there's any way for you to find out what that number is, do your due diligence there if you will to find it out. But you have the 9-digit number. Is that correct?
Correct.
You just don't have the red number on the back.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, particularly with nationality paperwork. Just you can create the number, but just make sure that you have nationality paperwork with what you send.
Okay. All right. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Peace.
Islam. Like, did you say put the restated? Yes. Did you say put the restated form 8.5 by 14 paper?
No, you don't have. Well, let's see. I usually do put it on 8.5 by 14.
I know you mentioned putting something.
However your spirit leads you,
okay.
but because I have to have stamps and seals and things on the bottom, I do it on 8.5 by 14 as an affidavit.
Okay. Most of the offices out here in Khalifa territory, they say that the 14-inch won't fit in their file cabinet, so they say put everything on 8.5 by 11.
Since when does a 8.5 by 14? Since when does it not fit in the file cabinet? That doesn't make any sense to me. And it's not their file.
I know, that's what they said. They just making rules.
Well, what they're saying is file it first in your court and then notify them. Because, see, you're just notifying them. You're not getting them to file anything. It's already filed. By the time they receive it, it's already filed with your court. They're not the ones doing the filing because they don't have the authority to file sovereign documents, living documents. They don't have the authority to do that. So it's filed already. That's just notification for them.
Getting ready to go.
Yeah.
You getting ready to get going? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Islam nobility. Are there any other questions? Again, every document that comes from us is filed with our courts when we create it. That's why we send at least one 8.5 by 14 document with it on Moorish government letterhead, letting them know this is a court action.
Islam Empress. Yes, Grand Rising. I think it's prudent to go over the perfected by control affidavit we had done already. That also assists with the perfection of our affidavits.
Yeah. Perfection by control does include the information you have in your consciousness. So there are some people who might say, well, I don't have my documents anymore because this happened or that happened or the other. You're still in complete control of the knowledge that was used to craft those documents. So, you know, at any time you can create originals. Okay. And then also, yes, Empress Angel is referring to the Universal Commercial Code, but we'll just go here.
Yeah, we have made an affidavit.
Yeah.
Can you please unlock the meeting?
Yes, nobility. So this is the Universal Commercial Code that we restated, perfection by control. A security interest, just one moment, let me find that one. Okay, here it is. It says a security interest is perfected by control under Section 9-106 from the time the secured party obtains control and remains perfected by control until, for us, we always keep control. So you know how they say own nothing and control everything? Well, we own everything and we control it too. Okay. So again, they're saying this says it remains perfected by control unless the secured party does not have control, which we do, and one of the following occurs. So this right here alone says that we have complete control. So we never lose control because that's why we craft everything ourselves. Because just having the knowledge in our minds is control. Because the self-government characteristic that we are born with means that in our mind, we govern our mental. That means we have control over everything that comes from our mental. Okay. It says here if the collateral it says here, if the collateral is a certificated security, the debtor has or acquires possession of the security certificate. That's why we don't notify debtors, we notify subordinates. Our subjects are...
Nobody obeys this man.
Our subjects are in the office of. And then it says, if the collateral is an uncertified security, the issuer has registered or registers the debtor as the registered owner. So again, because we've done the liens on everything, the liens and the levies indicate the liens and the levies demonstrate who the creditor is.
You should have that Land Rover by now, bid.
So the liens and the levies let the record know who the creditor is.
The liens and the levies do nothing.
So, boy, they sound mad. Don't be mad. Okay. So we can prove who the creditor is. We can prove that. It says a security interest in deposit accounts, electronic chattel paper, or letter of credit rights is perfected by control under section whatever. And again, we're not under anything, so we restated these. When the secured party obtains control and remains perfected by control only while the secured party retains control. Again, we're in complete control of everything that has to do with us.
Why was I evicted?
So are there any questions? And again, all we're doing is continuing to state and to demonstrate our control. That's all we're doing. When we showed the banking demonstration that we did, when we showed everyone the banking demonstration that we did a week ago, we were just showing that we have complete control over everything that's going on with our account. Everything. We have control over it. So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Regarding any of the things that we've spoken about thus far? And again, our control is always, not always. Our control has been tested, and we've passed every test of control. We've passed it. So we don't, we don't worry about whether we have control or not. We don't even worry about that because we know we do. We do. We have control of all of that. Having control of something just means that anything that's going on with it, you are the remedy. That's what control is. Anything going on with it. Islam nobility.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was sitting here wondering if I should ask you this question. Due to the fact we have control, like, say, for instance, the execution of the brother, I forgot which state he was in, but they just did it, I think, yesterday or the day before. If we will, could we stop something of that nature?
Absolutely.
Okay, Islam.
Absolutely. You must know how to use your system to stop it.
Correct.
Use your system to stop it. There's a process that has to be restated because, see, he was in the Negro, Black, Colored, and African American fantasy theater. He was there.
Right.
Okay. And so anything that's going on in the funny mirror it's not our will be done, both in heaven and on earth. All we have to do is do it. If that is what is on your mind and in your spirit and being brought to your consciousness to stop, that means that all you do is search out what the process is and let the court rule on it. Because, see, courts can stop that.
Okay.
Courts can stop
I don't have to have the to say cooperation of the party that's involved or being done unjustly. Or would I have to?
Let me just answer that question with a question. Would a fraudulent party cooperate with you?
Right. I got you.
That's why we don't make requests of them. We give commands.
Correct.
From our court. We're that powerful. And yes,
okay.
Subjects do as commanded. You must put them in subject status. That's a process. The process is a lien and a levy and a bond to put them in their status. Or else they just will act like they can't hear you.
Okay. All right, gratitude.
Yeah, Islam. You know, when we first woke up, we were saying, you know, we're the heirs to all land, all natural resources, all commerce, and this and that and this and that. And the first thing out of our teachers' mouths is prove it. So we did. Prove it. We must prove it by knowing the process. We must know the process. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from this great Congress? Islam nobility.
Reference to our demonstration this few weeks back concerning the tag or plate. Any further on that?
When you say any further, what are you expecting?
Well, I know we had, we voted on the format.
Mm-hmm.
And so was there anything that will come as a result of that?
Yes, you'll go ahead and produce them. Yes. Once we vote on it, it's the law. So we just go ahead and get moving, produce them, put them on. Notify.
Okay.
So that's a done deal. That's a perfected instrument.
Mm-hmm.
It's the law now.
Would this be also the same that you would utilize on your personal conveyance?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely, yes.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
I actually went to them on Thursday and gave them notification, and they said out of their mouth that they don't have jurisdiction over unincorporated entities.
There it is. There it is. So that's Justice Earl. There you have it.
Oh, yes, I'm clear on that.
Yeah.
And of course, we know they know that, and we're clear on that.
Yeah.
And of course, you have your, and I'm going to say it, knucklehead policy enforcers out there who have been trained otherwise, and that's where we run. That's where some of us run into problems, maybe because we're not properly demonstrating verbally based on our knowledge, or we just have a rogue policy enforcer out there.
You have to put them in subject status. You must put them in subject status. That means an automatic lien on whichever one was pretending and acting at your territory. Put a lien on them and all agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any and all derivatives thereof. That's going to cover everything. You must lien them. See, sometimes, people think that by not doing a lien, they're going to get some brownie points or something. No, you're not going to get any, and this is for everyone. No one gets brownie points for not liening. You must lien them because they're fake actors. And that's where a lot of times Moors get in trouble because, again, the liens prove that you're the creditor. But if they stop you, their act was to act as if you're the debtor and that you owe them something, or make a debt and say you owe it. So you just get you get that done first: lien, a levy, and a bond. And then notify and make sure that you have our driver's license and not theirs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to make sure that the whole process, and that is the notifications that are done to those entities who have anything to do with transportation. A lot of times we're not doing that. That's not happening as well. So if you're going to do all of that, you got to make sure you put that on the public record. Make sure you're noticing every level from the so-called federal level on down.
The rich people do their paperwork. The wealthy people do their paperwork. So, and now we know who we are, we do ours too. So, and then make sure that, that any conveyance that you're in has paperwork done on it, if in as much as you can. I mean, sometimes we Uber and do things like that for those who use those things. But you still, your identity must be secured by you. Restating, and then make sure you have your driver's license, your federal driver's license that we create. All of us have the authority to create our driver's license. Make sure that your driver's license meets the mandates that we've put out, that we all voted on. And then have insurance. Insurance is public liability insurance. Public liability insurance. And do the study on public liability insurance. Or you can have private liability insurance if you choose. So do the study on how to state that, and then keep going. We're moving very, very quickly on many things, and Justice Earl, I'm glad you asked that question of is there any more progress on it? Because sometimes we think that once we vote on it that we have to wait 6 months or a year or wait for something else to happen. We don't have to wait for anything to happen. We just do it. We just go ahead and properly state everything. We put it on the public record. It's the law. So now Moors can go ahead and continue creating, because Moors were creating tags anyway. Continue creating them. Islam. That was a great question. I love it when Moors say, what's next? What's next is whatever you say is next.
Islam, Empress.
Islam, nobility.
Travis Abdul-Aziz Bay, Michigan Territory. A kind of funny situation happened to me a little while ago. I sent a letter out to the Revenue Service people concerning any 1099 OIDs that's ever been filed in that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it out to all 4 different branches because I knew they was going to answer the same. So the letter came back saying, this letter is final. We have no knowledge of any 1099 OIDs ever being filed under that identifying number.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So my next step was I gave them a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Because the NFL retirement, NFLPA has sent me something in the mail dealing with, I guess, the so-called quote-unquote meeting they had about our pension, what was in the fund, how much money was there, the interest and all that. And so, and it said something unique in there, or not unique, but crazy, like you don't need to, I guess so, in so many words, look into this, we already have. So when I called the IRS, and I gave them my name, or the government name, and I gave them that TIN for the NFLPA, they was like, I said, what mean? He said, there's a whole lot of money in this account. And there's a whole lot of checks being going out. I said, I have not been receiving no checks. I said, where are they going? He said, they're going to the address you gave me. So he was going back to the NFLPA. But they was addressed to my person. You see what I'm saying?
Your person or their person?
My person.
Okay.
And he could, so after that, he said, only thing I can tell you is there's a lot of money in this account,
mm-hmm.
and there's checks been going out. Because I said, I went back to 1990. He said, how far you want to go back? I said, let's go back to 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said go back to 1990 as far as history, he said, And I'm like, what's He said, let me check something. So he checked a couple rounds of it. He said, well, I can only go back 10 years now. I said, well, let's go back 10 years. And he's like, He said he can't tell me. He said, the only thing I can tell you is that there's a lot of money in this account, and there's checks being sent out. And I told him they were not coming to me. And he told me that I need to do a fraudulent investigation on it to move forward on that, because apparently somebody's in a room somewhere claiming to be me or that entity.
So let me just say this, and I know you're not, but for the benefit of anyone listening, Do not be baited into accepting their person to get a check. That's number one, because they say things like that, but they want you to accept their person. What you can do, and I put 26 United States Code 166 on the screen, because anything that they're saying is in there, you can restate it, and you can come up with a number that you feel is appropriate, an honorable number, and then claim it as a deduction, because it's still worthless debt. So it's still owed to you, but not in that format. They're not going to send it out in that format. They're not sending it out to anybody. It's still there.
They want me to recontract. They want me to accept that offer and recontract with them.
So they can slap a bunch of debt on you and throw folks in jail and all of that. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Restate that whatever you think is in there, you don't even need their permission. Restate it and then claim it on because it's a debt, and claim it as a deduction. That's how come we don't have any debt. We got plenty of deductions that need to come and plenty of reimbursements that need to be had, but we don't have any debt. The debt has to be converted.
Okay. Islam, I yield.
So, they see what's there, but they already know nobody can issue it but you. You can issue it, but it has to be issued. The only way it'll come out is the right way. It ain't coming out other than the right way. And no, they haven't been issuing checks to anybody. You know what the amount is and then claim it yourself. No one else can even do that. No one can claim it. And anybody claiming it is going to be taxed into oblivion on it.
Islam, wouldn't he have determined the contract that was there too first?
Yeah, he's done that. It's just a matter of converting the debt to, because it's worthless. It's worthless. It's not going to help him at all, because they got a bunch of other debt that will follow that debt. And if they don't have any debt to follow it, they'll create debt to follow it. And that way it will leave you in debtor status if you claim that person. So we don't claim that person, and we don't fall for that old okie doke. Because if they had anything to give anybody, they'd have been given it. They'd have given it to themselves, which they did. But now they got to deal with the debt. So even if it's $50 million in there, even if it's $50 million in there, it's $50 million in bad debt. And you don't will to have bad debt. You will to have, because they'll leave you holding the bag of nothing but debt. So get ready to do your internal revenue filing in your court, with your court. And you all know how we do that. And then get ready to do your internal revenue refund report and put it on there. Put whatever you think is in there, put it on your refund report. And then just justify, restate whatever that fund was, restate that fund, and then issue it to yourself and send it. Because see, we're not one thing we could not ever dream or think of telling anyone is to accept their debtor status to get anything.
Islam interest. Another issue too. I tried reaching out to Sister Angel Bay, and it kept giving me back, and some of the other brothers and sisters on this, and the emails kept kicking back. They was unreachable. And I want to know if anybody else on this call had any trouble like that, or was it just me?
No, Islam, I can answer for myself anyway. Islam, this is Angel Bay. Yes, my email for that location is full. and so that's why it gets sent back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nothing personal. It's just fraud.
Yeah, and anytime things like that are going on, it's not anything personal for anyone. It's just sometimes you know, the emails get full and things like that. So just that, a lot of times when that happens, the ancestors are actually, whatever it is that you were going to ask or you know, ask about, the ancestors will have you go within and pull the answer from within, because you have the answers in you, you know. Or if you're just wanting to share information, you know, sometimes we have to just do that at Congress. But yeah, if it's a question, you can always pull the answer from within, and that's for everybody. You know, if for some reason you cannot reach us, and you have a question, we would ask that you wait 24 hours and see in that time period that the answer will come to you from within you. Islam. So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? I will say this too, and I don't know if you all have noticed this or not. Empress Shasha, Islam.
Yeah, I have a question. So I was looking at some older videos, older congressional meetings and assemblies. I correct myself. And I was looking at the one where $65 billion credit instrument was placed on the public record for the post office or the United States Postal. Yeah. And I was just trying to find that particular document. Is it out there? Is it even, I mean, everything we do is important, of course, yeah, but I've not been able to. Video. Yeah, and isn't that interesting? I didn't, it wasn't, unless I fell asleep in the middle or something. But because I was looking for, there were links to the peace document and the there was a military document, and I got those, but I didn't, because even if usually I can just you know, I'll transcribe from the video, because you actually stated, and I know this was a while back, but about putting these on, taking this particular document to the post offices. And I just thought that would be something to add to the demonstrations that I'm doing here, but I couldn't find it.
So Empress, if you will, usually when that happens, the Spirit is saying, go ahead and craft one.
Okay.
Go ahead and craft one. For where you are, go ahead and craft one.
Okay. I will do that. Another question, and I know these are older things, but I was going through some things, some documents, instruments, and of course I can't put my hand on it right now, but I came across the document. It was the Patriot Program, and you had stated that there was a $10,000 or more sovereign delirium deposit given to subjects in our territory. And I was looking at it very briefly, but anyway, it just resonated with me because of what's going on right now. And I just wondered, what is the status of that particular program, and what next? Sort of like, you know, Justice Earl there. What next, if that's still, well, it's the law because we put it on the public record. But yeah, I just wanted an update, really, because I can see it being beneficial right about now here.
So any of the programs approved by Congress were sent out to wherever we said we were going to send them. And the system is responding accordingly now that the system is funded, because it's actually been funded since we started doing the mailings, which was 2019, I believe. Okay. So everything that we've funded so far is working.
Okay. So, and you remember, or you remember, of course you do, the one I'm speaking of specifically. I just can't put my hands on the actual document right about now. Where you had stated that you were going through, let's see, the tax records, property tax records, and sending instruments. I think we were leaning the properties, and yes, carry on. I yield.
Yes, I remember what you're referring to. So we sent Delarium out. We did lien, levy, and bond some properties. Mm-hmm. One of the properties is right here and empty. No one's in it. Mm-hmm. The rest of the properties, there's more to come with that. But what I did notice, the documents and the Delarium were, this is what the message said about, and all of them said the same message. The message is that the package had to go to a different address because it's a different jurisdiction from any other jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction is different. I addressed them on the land and not out at sea somewhere. So correct. That other address, and this is what I know in my knower, in my spirit, I know they got the information, but it went to the land address for that place. So let's say if it was someone who lives next door, if I sent them some Delarium, then I would send it to the land address that like what we use. Then correct. Anytime I'm doing that, if their status is and I had to put everybody in subject status. Since their status is subject status, it has to go to the land address. So it will always say this was delivered to a different address. That's the message that's always put on those types of documents. So it was delivered to the land address. The timeline for that, of course, we didn't get we didn't hear anything back. But what are they to say? Nothing. They're not going to say anything back about that.
Right.
You know, even if it was next door, which a couple of things that I've sent out before has been around the proximity. They don't ask any questions because they know who we are already, and we don't really leave any questions out there. We answer everything in the documentation.
Correct. Yeah.
So now what we're doing is continuing to change. Well, and it's already changed. The financial system has already changed. It's continuing to manifest, because the changing of a financial system, especially one that's as big and ever growing as ours, if you'll notice, when we do things, it may be a little while before we see a manifestation of what we've already done. And so we're still seeing the manifestation. So what we do is we just let it happen. We allow it to happen according to the word that we stated, the things that we stated. We just wait, basically, and let the ancestors do what they do, and let the system do what it's supposed to do with all of that. And they will still be able to spend that money wherever they're going to spend it. They'll be able to use, not spend, but use the money wherever they will to use it. That demonstration I did to see what the post office would do about land addresses. Because see, if you'll notice, we get all of our documents and things back with land addresses. But I wanted to know if the people around us get the land, you know, with the land address, do they get the stuff too? And I'm sure they got it. It just went to the land address instead of a dead corpse address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just let the system, we put the word out there, and then we just watch but still stay busy just continuing to put the laws on the public record. They have to be on the public record. And then continue demonstrating who we are. So when we speak to people out there, we're doing court actions first, and then we speak.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's not an overnight process, it's a process, and we just let the process happen. We allow it to do exactly as we've commanded.
Right. And I absolutely know. I mean, time is the master.
Yeah.
But when I came across it, it was just it jumped out at me, and as I'm listening to your statement, it's a demonstration to do.
Yeah. It's to speak to them in the status that they're actually already in. That was the purpose of that particular demonstration. To speak to them in the status, and then also to put them on the proper timeline, because they've been off.
Mhm.
They've been off. And so it is our will that everyone be on the same proper timeline.
Right.
And we have to identify them. They can't identify themselves. They don't have the authority to. It's our land.
Exactly.
So that was another way for me to do that, to go ahead and identify them as who they really are.
And turn them around, really.
Yes.
Solution. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have to, because they can't do it themselves. If they could have done it themselves, that would make them sovereign, and they're not.
And right. Well, I mean, for me, a lot of them they're just not in their right status, right mind. So
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
Where are we on this and this and this and this? We know where we are on each and every demonstration that we've done. We know where we are on them. It's just a matter of, okay, let that continue. Let it continue. Allow it to continue.
If I may, Islam, we are dropping seeds. You're at the forefront of dropping seeds. Now, some of these, because, you know, some of these things I'm seeing, they're from years back, before I even was aware of the platform. But that seed, the seed is now being watered in me and germinating in me. So I get it. And I also realize viewing the older videos, for me, it's a knitting together of where I am currently, and it's like I'm, you know, capturing another bit of thread and weaving it into the web.
Yes.
And so I'm still excited. I'm excited, and so I appreciate it, and I see the value of these videos, these congressional assemblies. I mean, from now till time into perpetuity.
Yeah.
People will be able to go and see and view and do.
Yes. Remember, our ancestors planted seeds hundreds and thousands of years ago in anticipation of us coming here.
of this time. Absolutely.
Look how long
and I see it. I mean, right. And that's absolutely the truth. My little 3.5 years is nothing compared to theirs. But I see it. I mean, literally, I'm living those words, those statements. So, yeah.
Islam, what comes to mind is a time capsule.
Yeah.
You know how they would do, I did that in school, in the foolery system. I was in like elementary school, I think. And we had took things from our home and things and brought it to the school and put them and buried them. And it was a time capsule for that school and such. So, yeah.
That's absolutely, yes. Yes, I see that. Mm-hmm.
You know, many of the seeds have already grown into trees, and then there are seeds. We'll be planting seeds into perpetuity as well, but we will also see many of those bloom and blossom and grow and take root and all of that. Much of that is being done right now. The financial system taking root is important. Very important.
Yeah.
Islam. This is a simple question. Not too simple. But what the ancestors have shown me that I need to do, that I will to do, in a lien of real property, is it stated owner, DBA, property address? Is that the appropriate way to do a lien on property?
You can do it that way. You could do it that way. Just make sure that the address is going to be the way that they stated. That's what you're leaning, is those abbreviations and all capital letters and all of that. That's what you're leaning.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Oh, you silly little Negroes are so funny.
That takes care of that.
You silly.
And that also takes care of the owner and the property.
The one claiming to own it, yes, indeed.
I mean, the one claiming to own the property, subject. Yes. Okay. Gratitude.
The key is going to be the addresses. That's the key to the claiming of property. On our land, the addresses that we use, the correct addresses with no abbreviations, all of that is available. Real estate, it's all available. And as soon as you call someone a squatter, or you give them the command, because again, they were just keepers of it until we showed up. I was doing a little Islam nobility.
Yes, I appreciate that. I got a lot of documents going out tomorrow, and I was hoping you would agree so that I wouldn't have to redo Islam.
You would let your spirit tell you about that anyway, whether to, how to do it and such. So remember, go ahead, nobility. Mm-hmm.
Through my studies, I have come to find out that the parcel number to the property is the tax identification number to the property. And so you can, maybe use that in your favor as well.
Say that again, nobility.
That the parcel number to the tax to the property is the tax identification number.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah.
You might be able to use that in your favor as well.
Yes, indeed. That is a way to properly, that number has to be restated so that you can do proper tax things with it and so on and so forth. That's a demonstration that we're doing here as well, with taxes and having the records reflect properly and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's like the EIN number. So, you know, it lines up correctly with the
EIN for us, that means that is this is what it is. It is an exemption identification number. That's what EIN is about for us. Here, let me make that a little bigger. Just a moment. It's an exemption identification number. That's how it's spelled in ancient English. And then in blue ink, we would just say in blue ink is spelled that way, which is called common or commercial English. So, and sometimes we put 2 D's there. And sometimes we put 2 X's there. It just depends on what the Spirit says to do for us. So, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom from this Congress?
Islam, Empress, quickly, could you unlock the meeting so I can get back in? My phone is going to cut off and I'll have to come back in, please.
It's unlocked, Empress.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. A little while ago, I was going to say something. I am noticing on the green envelopes, I'm noticing that they're getting computer-generated stamps a lot on them. Computer-generated stamps. So, for example, this is one from here. Let me unshare stop the screen sharing.
No free Land Rovers.
This is one from. Thank you. This is one from United Services Automobile Association, USAA banking system, and it's got a stamp on it instead of signatures. And this is about the 3rd or 4th one that I've gotten like this.
It doesn't mean a fucking thing because none of us at work. No Land Rover.
They used to. It used to have signatures, and now, you know, on all the ones that we're getting back, this is another one.
Fucking garbage
from Verizon, and it just got those orange lines at the bottom, and then a stamp here. You know, it didn't have a signature. It's just got orange lines at the bottom, saying that it was received there, and it's back, and I've gotten.
Show us where the seall factory is.
So, a lot of those companies or corporations or companies as subjects in the office of and all of that they're gone. They're gone. So, and to me, that's okay. Because we were the bank and we were all of that anyway. We've always been the bank. Yeah. So it's some will come back with signatures. Some of ours come back with signatures, and we show quite a few of them in couple of videos previous, you'll get signatures on them somewhere, but a lot of them are coming back with stamps instead of a signature, which we expected that once we did liens, levies, and bonds, we expected them to start moving everything, all the acting can stop because we're here.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Oh my God.
So with that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Perfect instrument. Keep doing what you're doing. We're full-fledged. We're 100% governing. 100% governing. Did anyone else hear? Let me Google it and see if it's here in the funny mirror. Let's see. There were some stories out where, in the funny mirror, they were saying there are discussions about canceling the 2024 presidential election, or postponing it and things of that nature. A lot of that has been in the acting community, has been going on. Things about people canceling, quote unquote, election day and all of that. We've heard quite a bit of that in the funny mirror. And again, bankrupt and, no real money, no land, no nothing. That funny mirror is it's not real. It's not a thing. So, with that being stated, I have nothing further for the Congress at this time, until so we will adjourn here and meet again. Our next Congress, when will we meet again, Congress? When is our next Congress? Islam Empress.
Next week?
Okay. Sunday?
I affirm.
Next week, Sunday.
Okay. Noble Byron has affirmed. Any other?
I affirm.
Islam. I affirm. Thank you,
Islam, Angel Bay, Junkie Victor, Mother Chief Justice, I affirm.
Thank you, Empress and Emperors. Islam, thank you, Nobility. Let me say this too about what's coming, because I know we can all feel it. We always feel like something's coming, something's going to happen, something's coming. We are the someone, okay? We are that event, okay? We're that event. So the anticipation of everyone feeling like something's coming, we're here, okay? So we will adjourn until a week from strong from today, Sunday. We'll Congress again at that time. If there's nothing further, we'll adjourn. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, peace and love.
Much gratitude for my erudition. Love you all.
Peace and love, family. Peace and love, nobility.
Islam.
Islam. And we will adjourn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 until next week. Next strong.